Hi, this is Darren from Darren's Radio World. I was going to do a review on the Tecsun PL-398BT radio today. It's the Bluetooth version of it. There's two versions of this radio. There's the Bluetooth, which is the BT, which is what I have, and then there's a MP version 2 that has an MP3 player in it instead of Bluetooth. Um, this is a pretty simple radio to run, and it's also a very good radio too. I was talking about how the Sehuadon R108, that radio there, has good sensitivity, especially on the medium wave band. When you take the Tecsun AN200 medium wave loop and put it up against that radio comes to life. Yeah. Well, I was playing around with my radios the other night between these two, and I noticed this radio here is pretty sensitive too. This radio here, I was playing around on the medium wave band the other night with it, and it seemed to be just as sensitive on the medium wave band without the loop than this radio was with the loop. So this is a pretty sensitive radio, and it probably is pretty good on medium wave because it's got the two speakers. It's a wider radio. It's the ferrite antenna is probably bigger. Well, not probably. I'm sure it is bigger. It goes all the way across the top of the radio, or most of the way. I'm sure, at least up to here. That's a pretty good sized ferrite antenna. I'm sure it like I said, it being a bigger radio, it's going to have a bigger ferrite antenna. And this radio here also is known to be pretty sensitive on medium wave too. A lot of people highly recommend this radio if you like doing medium wave DXing. It's a good radio. And it also has a longer whip antenna. I'm not going to put it all the way out because it's pretty big. This antenna is probably 3 times as long as the antenna on the Sehuadon radio. This is for your shortwave and your FM, and it's longer, so it'll pick up your FM stations and your shortwave stations better too over the Sehuadon or the CC Crane CC Skywave radio because it's got a bigger ferrite antenna, picks up better on medium wave. It's got a bigger whip antenna, so it'll pick up better on shortwave and FM too. And so it's a good sensitive radio. I would recommend, I never even come across to ever thinking about selling this radio. And it's got the dual speakers. I mean, they're not, a lot of people say that this radio here is basically the Tecsun PL-380 with 2 speakers. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if it has all the same components in it as the Tecsun PL-380, but I definitely know it performs better. I had a PL-380 at one time and it got broke, and I just never bought another one. Because, the sound was really too tinny on the speaker, and it just wasn't too sensitive. This radio here is definitely sounds better. The speakers do sound better than the 380, and it is definitely more sensitive than the 380. So, it sounds pretty good, though, for for the speakers. You know, you got stereo speakers, FM stereo, and all that. So yeah, it's good. So let's like take a look at this radio. On the back, you have, and I don't know why they have a previous and next button and the pause play. I believe that's for the MP3 player, which this radio does not have. So I'm guessing Tecsun just builds these radios and they put all the buttons on them. And if this did have an MP3 player in it, those would be your buttons for your previous track, your next track, and your play and pause button, but it does not. It is Bluetooth. And it has the Bluetooth switch down below here, where you can switch it from Bluetooth to radio. And I love the Bluetooth. That's why I got the Bluetooth, because I don't ever use an MP3 player in a radio. You know, and I do use the Bluetooth. I use Bluetooth quite a bit, and I have a Tecsun PL-990 that has Bluetooth. And when I drag these radios out, the 398BT or the 990, I do use the Bluetooth. I love Bluetooth. So yeah, that's your Bluetooth switch. Here's your frequency chart on your kickstand. You have FM 87 to 108, and you can also switch it over to the European one, which is 64 through 108. Then you have your medium wave band, your 9K and 10K stepping. 9K is the 522 to 1620. The 10K stepping is the 520 to 1710. Your long wave is 153 to 513, and your short wave is 2.300 to 21.950. And it takes 3 AA batteries, and there's your chart showing you how to put them in, which side the negative and the positive goes. And this is your battery compartment here. I'll open it because it's pretty simple. You can see there's your batteries. I got EBL rechargeable batteries in there right now. I only use rechargeable batteries because I use my radio so much. It would be more expensive for me to keep buying regular alkaline batteries than to just go out and buy a little more money and get rechargeable batteries. So yeah, it takes 3 AA batteries. I think that's it for the back of the radio. On this side of the radio, you got your carrying strap. You got your FM and shortwave, if it'll focus there. FM and shortwave antenna jack. And you got a line in jack. And you got your earphone jack. And then you got a mini USB port for your charging. You can charge the batteries in this radio if you want. Which that's something too that I don't really do, because they say that charging the batteries inside the radio, if the radio does do that, it shortens the radio life. So I always go out and buy an external charger and use the external charger to charge my batteries. And then that way too, I always have spare batteries that I charge, and when the batteries need changed, all I got to do is swap them out. I don't have to sit there and wait for them to charge up in the radio. This side here, on the top here, you got your, okay, if it'll focus. You got your tuning wheel. It's not a knob, it's a wheel. Your tuning wheel for, changing the stations and stuff. And then you got a volume wheel to adjust your volume. And then on the front of the radio, you got your, I'm going to turn this light on, make it a little bit more visible, hopefully. You got your digital display screen, your battery indicator, your timer and alarm, and then you got your temperature. Again, if you want Celsius, you got to run the radio in 9K stepping on medium wave, and if you run the radio in 10K stepping, it goes to Fahrenheit. So, yeah, that's how you change it back and forth from Fahrenheit to Celsius. And you got your time, which can go 12-hour or 24-hour. And then you got your numeric keypad. And this is your FM set button, where you can change it back and forth to those frequency charts I had on the back. Either 64 to 108 or 87.5 to 108. And then this is your 12 and 24-hour button where you can change the time. I don't know if it'll do it. Yep, 12-hour. You can do 12 hours where it's 7:48, or 24 hours where it goes into military time. I use military time because it's easier for me. As I said in other videos, it helps me better determining the AM and the PM because I've been in firefighting, law enforcement, security work. I'm just used to working with military time. And then this is your 9 and 10K stepping. That's how you change it back and forth. The medium wave band from 9K to 10K stepping. This is your battery button. When you hit that button, it'll change. See, charging off. That means now it's safe to put regular alkalines in. If you're going to use regular alkalines, you want to turn the charging off, because if you leave it on and you put regular alkalines in your battery, the alkaline batteries in your radio, you're not going to have any more batteries for a radio, let's put it that way. So make sure if you use regular alkalines that you turn the charging off, so that it don't blow your radio up and your batteries. But I leave it on, like I said, because not that I really charge, like I said, I don't charge them in the radio, but for some reason, when you use the regular alkaline setting where it's off, the battery indicator doesn't read correctly. I don't know, it looks like it's slower than it is, so I leave it on charge. The charging mode, when I got rechargeables in there, it gives me a more accurate reading on the battery meter. So I've noticed. This is your beep on and off. We can turn that annoying beep off if you want. And that's your delete button for you to delete your presets and your memories out of the radio if you want. And then this is your display button, which does your display. See how it changed over to alarm. And when you go to turn the radio on, hold on, because I think I had this radio up really loud. Yeah, and there's music. I don't want music on. YouTube will have a little fit and flag my video. But here you got your signal to noise ratio. You got time, where you can have your time and the radio frequency on there at the same time, which is pretty cool. Your alarm, your second alarm, and then your clock. Alright, where's the signal to noise ratio? Where'd that go to? Huh. Oh, there it is, your signal to noise ratio. So yeah, Depending on whether you have the radio on or off, it'll do different things. This is your time button that makes you adjust your time. And your alarm button, here's your buttons. You can wake to music or wake to alarm. I believe that one's to wake to music, and this one's to wake to your alarm, whatever kind of noise the radio makes. I don't use my radios as an alarm clock, so I never use it. Couldn't tell you what it sounds like. And over here you got the A and B button. If you want to go to shortwave, that's how you got to go to shortwave. You either press A or B, and that'll take you to the shortwave band. And the A button, you do your scan. It scans all the frequencies from in the bands. It goes up the bands from band to band automatically and scans all the frequencies. If you want to do just like one particular band, like say if you just want to do the 31 meter band, you hit that button till you get to the 31 meter band, and then you hit scan, and it'll only scan the 31 meter band. And that's it. It'll only do the band. So that does only the band, and the A does all of them. And this is your view memory, view frequency buttons for your presets, whether you want to view your memory with the tuning wheel, or whether you want to view the frequency with the tuning wheel. It'll go by your frequencies on the radio. And then that's your ETM, easy tuning mode button, and your AM button, and your FM button for your AM band, or medium wave band, whatever you want to call it, and FM. So you got shortwave, AM, FM. Over here you got your bandwidth button to adjust your bandwidth, and that's your stereo button to go back and forth, the FM stereo if you want. And of course your power button that turns the radio on and off. And I don't think this radio either has a reset button, unfortunately. I've never seen one on the radio anywhere. Oh yeah, up here too. Oh, that's something else cool I want to show you about this radio. I'm glad I did this. This is your light and snooze button on top of the radio, where you can, if your alarm goes off, you hit snooze. It'll put your snooze on and wake you up again in like 10 minutes or whatever it does. And the light button. This radio is awesome. Not very many radios do this, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to turn the lights off, and I'm going to show you. This radio, when you turn it on, all the buttons light up. Oh, you got to leave. Yeah, when you turn that light, that's how you turn. See how the light blinked? When you press and hold that button on the top of the radio, and that leaves your light on. All the buttons light up. Your numeric keypad, your display buttons and all that, and the buttons up here in the corner for AM, FM, your power button, everything lights up. I love that about this radio. So if you're in a dark or a dim area, the buttons light up. You can see the buttons still, and it's awesome. I love it. Like I said, not very many radios do that. This is the only radio I have that has lit backlight buttons and stuff that does do that. Yeah, I wanted to show you that because that's pretty cool about this radio. So I guess, yeah, and there's no reset button, so I guess it's kind of like the Tecsun PL-398BT. If something goes wrong with this radio, I guess so they say, take the batteries out of the radio, let it set for 24 hours, and then put the batteries back in the radio, and hopefully whatever problem you were having should be rectified. If it's not, then you'll have to get a hold of somebody that knows how to work on the radio to figure out what's going on with it. But that's how you reset your radio on this particular radio. And it is your Bluetooth and FM stereo, shortwave, medium wave, long wave, DPS receiver, your Tecsun PL-398BT. Yeah, really nice radio. I would recommend getting one. Definitely. Like I said, to me this radio is a keeper. It, like I said, it's a pretty basic radio, but it's really sensitive. It's got the backlight buttons, which a lot of radios don't have. You don't see too often. I mean, it's a great little radio in its own way. I love it. Get one. The Tecsun PL-398BT. And with that, this is Darren from Darren's Radio World signing off. Have a good holiday weekend. Bye-bye now from Erie, PA.